This is Saturday Morning Mysteries.
And we're your hosts, Alexis and Grace. Hello, good morning, and welcome back to another episode of Saturday Morning Mysteries, where we're your hosts. I'm Alexis.
I'm Grace.
And Grace is about to lay down her second episode.
Oh, yeah.
Animalia, the pseudo-classic PBS kids hit. How do we describe this? Well, I mean, it came out in 2008, so I don't feel right calling it a classic quite yet.
Not classic for us.
And it's not, we
us.
didn't watch it growing up either.
Yeah.
So, but I'm sure there were some people out there who were like, oh, that is a classic to me. I had a fever dream about that show one time, and it turns out it was real. Yeah.
So real.
So yes, Grace is going to tell us her second episode of the show about two kids who find a portal to a world run and ruled by animals known as Animalia, based off of the amazing, phenomenal books by loosely based off of the phenomenal books by Graham Base that basically were just alphabet books, educational alphabet books, and the writers of this show took that basic plot line and said, hold my beer. We're going to go crazy with it. Because they were
absolutely drunk when they thought that this was in any way related to that book.
Absolutely. Or just in any way that this was like a coherent plot to draw out over 2 seasons of a show.
Yes.
They did it when we are now experiencing it for ourselves and sharing that with you all.
Yes,
on that note, Grace, hopefully you give us some more answers about this show and this world, because I'm still lost. I know we tried to answer some stuff last week, but more questions arose.
Remember, in our first 2 episodes, there's a lot of lore drop and world building that was happening.
Yes.
We were like, oh, maybe every episode will continue to build on things. I was hoping with your last episode, I was like, ooh, maybe something's going to be answered about what happens in my, like a little thing in my episode that was a brief moment. And I was like, what is that? Turns out both no, your episode did not answer it, and no, my episode gives no further context to this world.
Damn.
My episode is just a romp. Just a romp through Animalia.
Just a romp. Okay.
Just a little romp. So,
okay.
Yep. We won't learn anything else. Although, actually, one thing you did say in your episode, kind of briefly, I'll bring up in a little bit, because I do think a loose theory you had. No, not that they're dead children. Not that one.
Like, did we see them die? No.
Maybe,
okay.
But kind of related to that theory you had. We'll come up later. I'll point it out when we get there. So, just put a big old mysterious pin in that.
And for those who are just joining us in this arc for the first time in today's episode, maybe go back and watch the first 2 Animalia episodes that we've covered, because you're probably like, wait, what? Alexis thinks kids are dead? What is happening? Animal
Is this
Kingdom?
A kid's show?
What's happening? It's a kid's show. What? So go back, get the context.
Yes.
It is, I guarantee you, it is necessary. In this case, we usually will say, watch it after this episode, go back and watch it. No, in this case, you need to watch episodes 1 and 2.
Yeah, and then
because we don't even know what's going on still.
Barely
so if we don't,
are hanging on with our claws here, just digging in, hanging on for dear life
on the edge of a cliff. So go ahead and add more confusion to all of this, please.
Oh, we will.
Great.
So today I'm doing season 1, episode 10, and I will say, so all of these episodes are available on YouTube. There's like an Animalia official channel. Some of them are switched. So I clicked episode 10, which had this title on like the YouTube title, but it was actually episode 9. And then I clicked episode 9 on YouTube, and it was my episode. So
good to know.
When you watch the intro, it has the title card of what the episode is called. So you got to make sure you check that before you watch them. Okay. So just as a little housekeeping for everyone.
Yes, good. For those who choose to watch this along with us.
Yes, exactly. So today we are actually focused primarily on our dear, lovesick iguana, Iggy.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yes, this is an Iggy episode.
I think he might be my favorite character, so I'm excited to learn about him.
It's very fun.
Confirm
this episode,
that.
again, a romp. Simply a romp through the world of Iggy.
Yes.
So we begin with Iggy lounging out on a rock as iguanas do. And he is writing in his journal. He's writing a memoir. Who's to say?
He's
But
a man of many words, an iguana of
oh,
many
an
words.
iguana of many words, of many flourishing
Hmm.
words. But
Hmm.
either way, we hear his voiceover as he writes, and a very, very
A
keen
voiceover.
listening listener, a deeply well-read listener, you might clock the first line of this, of what he's writing, and
Oh,
it might sound vaguely familiar, but if you don't
yeah.
catch it, that's okay. I will reveal it in due time.
Hmm.
So Iggy says, in the kingdom of Animalia, on a rock whose name is unpronounceable, there lives one who is ever alert, who is ever ready to face danger. Which is a good thing because danger, she looks here, there, everywhere, lurking like the lurker that she is. And in these troubled times, voices cry, hello, for a hero to come to the rescue. And this is the story of just that hero.
Oh,
But
wow,
first,
Iggy.
I know
You
Iggy.
little drama boy.
Little drama
Okay.
boy.
Yeah.
Okay. A little artiste perhaps in here.
Yeah.
But first, before we learn about this hero, Iggy tells us we must begin
Hmm.
at the beginning with a damsel in
Hmm.
distress, a damsel who, quote, whose name is as lovely as her head, is
What?
Zoe.
As her head, not her
Yes,
face, her
yes.
head.
That's why I did the
You
direct
know,
quote.
good for Iggy. This is his way of saying it's not just about looks, it's about your brain too. It's the whole
Oh,
head, it's the
Iggy,
face and the mind.
Iggy,
Iggy, he is my favorite
Iggy.
character. Go
Oh,
on.
Iggy, this little Casanova over here.
I know,
God
winning our hearts
dang. Ah,
15 years,
hearts
however
and
many years in the
minds.
future. Yes.
Exactly.
You go,
So
Iggy.
we cut to Zoe, who's hanging out by a lake. She's playing some games on her like little flip phone that she's got. Her phone doesn't work in there, but
Mm.
Snake sure does still, I'm sure.
Oh, okay.
So she's,
Ironically,
yeah,
unironically.
exactly. But as she's sitting there, she starts to feel something's a little off, almost like something is watching her. And from the
Mm.
corner of her eye, she sees what I thought at first was shadows appearing in the jungle. And in
Hmm.
these shadows, the whites of someone's eyes appear in the shadows. And it turns
Mm.
out to be Alex. He jumps
Thank
out,
God. Okay.
but yes, but
Bro, read the room. Like
do you
the
have
not the
friends? No,
yeah.
here's why.
That's right. Okay. He is not well socialized. He doesn't know that that's like a fucked up thing to do in this scenario.
A
Okay.
woman by herself, like in a jungle. Yeah, but I will say, Zoe, when she saw it and she saw the white's eyes, she was like, oh no, I'm so scared. Like
Okay.
she knew. And he was like,
She's already tired of his bullshit.
she's like, good thing I know where that portal back home is. But he was like, what? How did you know it was me? And she's just like, whatever, Alex. But here's the one thing that I was hoping your episode would answer is like,
Mm.
oh, this wasn't shadows. This was a portal, it turns out. Like he was going through a portal to scare Zoe, which, like, where did it come from? Where did it go? He was
Oh.
controlling it. Like, what? Huh? Like from somewhere else in
Oh.
Animalia? And there's no context given to it. And so I was hoping your episode would be like, and now
Okay.
they can create portals themselves.
Mm-mm. No, they
Um,
okay. So yeah, so this is extending to we're in episode 10, you said now. This
yeah,
isn't even like a yeah, okay. So
yeah,
portals just open up wherever here.
yeah. Portals,
Hmm.
they're popping in and out. Alex, I guess, is like
You
made his
know,
go to Zoe,
and to me that adds in a way
his evil,
to no, no. I mean, yeah,
to
actually maybe
controlling this
that too.
universe.
Oh, but that they're like in a coma or something like
Yes.
that. Because I feel like there's too much plot armor. You know, it's like a dream. You can't get
Yes.
hurt in a dream because it's a fucking
Yes.
dream. You're in control of it. So I feel like
Yes.
in
And he
this
was
way,
like,
like,
I'm going to go dream hop to my friend Zoe here through this
exactly. Yeah.
portal.
Yeah. Like being chased by a lion or by a tiger in the middle of the jungle. Like,
Yes.
oh,
But
I
you're
need to
still
escape. Okay,
fine.
here's a portal. Like,
Here's a
let me get
portal.
out. And the portal will close
Done.
right before he can get through it. I'm like, I don't know, man. These
Yes.
kids, I think
This
these kids are
coma
in a
escape here.
dark, sad place right now.
Yeah, exactly. Again, limbo, coma, who's
Yeah,
is to say?
something. Yeah.
Yeah. And I will say too, yeah, I was just so perplexed. And then, yeah, I guess they can control them, but everyone else can also use them. It's not just like the kids who can control them.
Hmm.
I don't fucking know. And I don't know if this is a new thing since the core situation, or was
Yeah,
it always like this? I don't know, and they do not tell us in this episode. So don't ask me any
fair.
questions about it.
Yeah. The best way to not have to explain yourself is by just refusing to answer questions,
Yes.
like, or refusing to elaborate further.
Yep.
Just,
I won't even
yeah.
say no more questions. I'll just talk over you and through you about something totally different. The
I just
politician's
keep
way.
changing the subject.
Yeah.
Politicians like
I'm gonna just razzle
facts.
dazzle you out of this. Out of these
Ooh,
plot
course
holes.
force. Look at the birds
Ooh,
flying out of the
Iggy.
course
Ooh, beautiful
force.
words. Ooh,
Yeah.
portal.
Yeah.
So, yes, disappointed at not being able to scare his friend, Alex starts
Hmm.
to go off, and Zoe turns back to her game. But she gets that kind of weird feeling again and looks over kind of near like the tree line that she's sitting near. And she once again sees shadows, aka what I now know is a portal opening.
Hmm.
And as it's opening, she calls out Alex again, like, Alex, you just tried this shit. Like, give it a rest. But she becomes a little less sure of herself, as this time, instead of like the whites of someone's eyes in the portal, two pairs of eyes appear in it, but they're glowing blue and purple. And they're
Mm.
blinking and starting to like glare at Zoe. And she's like, okay, Alex, like, you made it scarier this time.
Yeah.
Okay,
Stop.
congratulations. Yeah, you can stop. Okay, you scared me. Thank you. But Alex walks up beside her and says, what is that?
Oh no.
Yeah, big oh no. That's the opposite of what you want to happen
She's
right
like, you're right by
here.
me. I thought you were there.
I thought you were doing better at your pranking here and now you're here.
Yeah.
Or are you just that good at your pranking, which we know he's not.
Which is
So
not
at
red
this
flags.
point, Zoe and Alex both scream and do what they do best, start to run away.
Good.
But these portals, which are apparently, like you kind of just said, easy to produce at a drop of a hat, this is no
Hmm.
longer dreamscape. This is perhaps nightmarescape because as they
Mm.
start running in the jungle, these portals start appearing. Every like tree they turn around or like curve around, there's the portal with the glowing eyes in it. Once again,
Oh.
they go another direction, the portal's back, same set of like two sets of eyes in there, like
Oh
glaring at
Lord.
them, seeming to get closer as if they're going to come out of the portal itself.
Hmm.
And from somewhere nearby, we have Iggy and Gabooboo who hear the screams of their human friends and they jump into action and start running towards the sounds of their screams. And Iggy gets there first and he grabs like a stick from the ground that's like super sharp. It's almost like a little sword, like a Iggy sized sword, I would say.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, it's very cute. He holds it out like towards the danger and saying he'll save the kids as they run past him, obviously in fear. And
Hmm.
he's not totally sure what the fuss is all about. So he kind of looks around to see, like, what are they running from exactly? Like, I don't hear anything chasing them.
Yeah.
But as he does this, one of the portals pops up right in front of him with the eyes seemingly like inches from his face. So naturally, he also screams and runs away too. And he zips past those kids like some real hero shit, just leaves them behind.
I'm saving you. Run
Yeah, I'm
away.
showing you the way, this way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the portal, though, seems to like lurch forward. So it's not like reappearing, disappearing. It's like lurching towards them and getting closer and closer. But luckily, this pursuit is cut off as Gabooboo straight up just fucking fells a whole ass tree and it slams down onto the portal.
Oh
Like
my God.
an entire
Okay.
tree just falls down on the portal and Gabooboo jumps on top of it and is like beating his chest, like roaring. So the portal is obviously gone now.
What if the tree like went through the portal and landed on whatever? I'm confused on these portals now too. Like I didn't know you
Yeah,
could like just like
like yeah, you
how
could
do you
destroy
crush a
it.
portal? I guess. I don't know.
I don't know either. Or maybe it was like
They don't know. The
the
writers
things
also don't know.
inside would get crushed. Like
Yeah. Or would it just
it's
like can you because like what
yeah,
not to
what's
be like
the
that person, but
dimensional
like what
space?
is a portal?
Yeah.
What is a portal?
What
Is
dimension
there
is this
actual
in?
mass there? Yeah, is there
Yeah.
something to crush? I don't know.
Yeah. Or
Anyways,
does it just like pop it out? It's like a bubble, it just pops. Like,
yeah.
and then it
And
just
then
has
what?
to reappear somewhere
And it's
else.
gone?
Yeah,
Yeah.
fully worried that this problem's still here or was it taken care of?
Yeah.
We
Or
don't know.
just a new portal of the same thing, just open up right behind them. How many
Right.
trees can Gabooboo knock over here? Or just
Right.
like,
If a
yeah.
tree falls on a portal, does anyone get crushed?
Does the tree teleport to wherever that portal leads?
Right. Scooby-Doo
Yeah.
now gone.
Yeah.
So as this happens, Iggy turns towards Zoe and Alex and is like, yes, this was all a part of my plan here. Like, yes, I helped you kids run away so Boo could fell this tree, knock down this tree,
Okay.
and save you guys. And
Yeah.
Zoe like rolls her eyes at this and is like, yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks for running away faster than we did, which
Mm.
she's not
Mm.
wrong. He
Hey,
definitely did nothing to
survival of
help.
the fittest, Zoe.
Yeah. So that was the 10th Bill of Rights that we couldn't quite hear in your last
Yeah,
episode.
that was. They still follow that rule. Even
Yeah.
as civilized animals, they still
Hey,
listen to that one.
everywhere. Okay,
Yeah.
rules to live by. So Iggy is hurt by this comment as he tells her that his life is dedicated to keeping Zoe safe. And like,
Mm.
yes, he knows he's had some cowardly moments, but he is actually he's studying up on how to be brave. Like he's been
Aw.
getting books from the library about how to be brave, like a
Aw.
being brave for dummies is what I'm thinking type of situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is really cute. Like he's trying really hard. Like
Yeah. He's trying to be better.
he's trying to be better. He knows that he's made mistakes in the past, but Zoe,
And read anything. Read
read
everything.
everything. He's following the law of the land, Zoe.
Exactly.
The law of the land, including survival of the fittest, okay? Don't
Yeah,
forget that
all
one.
of the laws, the
All
Bill
of
of
it.
Rights and the amendments,
Exactly.
the additional amendments. Yeah.
And Zoe goes like a little too hard on him, and she's like, "Great, so now you can what? Throw a book at the danger." And it's
Mm.
basically like, "You can't do anything, Iggy." And she literally says, "Like you're the size of a boot. What are you gonna do?" Which like,
Damn.
yeah, Zoe pretty fucking rude in this episode right here. Like,
Yeah. And sensitive subject because like reptiles unfortunately get turned
yeah,
into
get
like
made into
boots.
boots all the time.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
super
Zoe,
sad.
like, why you gotta go that low? Okay,
Yeah.
that was too low of a blow. And I know he's low to the
Yeah.
ground, but still, man, come on,
Aw,
not
it's
cool.
so easy to make fun of Iggy. Poor
I
guy. I
know,
like him
just
even
poor little
more
guy.
now. Okay.
Yes, exactly. We like him even more. And like you said, though,
Mhm.
after we heard his little excerpt, he lives for the flair. He lives for the drama.
Yeah.
He stops walking and does one of those fake like stabs in the heart and like twists
Oh,
it at this and like
love this
sticks his
guy.
little tongue out like he's dying. And he says he
Yeah.
promises that he will prove himself to Zoe.
Mm, good.
So while he's the drama, rightfully so, because it's Iggy, he deserves it.
Yes.
The drums does not actually stop with Iggy. It is spreading throughout Animalia as we hear
Mm.
on the news that, quote, the eyes are upon us, unquote. Because apparently all over Animalia, everyone is starting to see these portals with the glowing eyes,
Ooh.
like popping up throughout town or their jungle and stuff.
Yeah.
So everyone's on edge in Animalia. People are going home and locking their doors at night. They jump at every noise they hear, every shadow they come across, and everyone's really unsure about what to do about these
Mhm.
mysterious eyes. Everyone except our one, our only face of Lord Capitalism, Tyrannicus,
Great.
who also,
Oh God.
I gotta say, in writing this out, I was like, this name is so goddamn long to type out
It
every single
is.
time. So I just started writing Tyra every time.
Smile with your eyes.
Alexis,
Okay.
literally, as we see him in this scene, I was like, this is so fucking fitting because he is literally standing right next to a full ceiling to floor, whole ass portrait of himself.
Oh, okay.
Fierce as hell. He is smizing in
Okay,
that
Mr. Tyra.
portrait. But he's also wearing a tiger pelt fur coat in this portrait.
Oh, that's dark.
Um,
That's
Also, his office chair is a tiger pelt. Like
uh
some like Silence of the Lambs shit, which also now that we had the
yeah.
poll in your episode that he clearly dug.
It
Um,
rubs the lotion on its skin. Thus gets
I'm
the hose again.
I'm concerned about Tyra here.
This
Tyra's a lot darker
is
than we thought.
problematic. Sorry, Tyra Banks, if for whatever reason you're listening to this.
Yeah, we know
We're
you
not
are.
talking about you. We know you are. We know you're a fan. Love you, girl.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, Tyra. No, yeah,
Tyra.
you're right. Totally doing that though in the rest of
Yeah,
my
it was
episodes because
just
I was getting annoyed saying
it
his
was so
name over and
long.
over last.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's very
Tyrannicus.
long and it's
Yeah,
hard to say it
Tyra.
like with an S at the end. Like if
Yes, it's
you're
just a
saying the
challenging
possessive,
name.
too many S's. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Good. All right.
Tyra,
We're
from
on
here on
board.
out.
Tyra. Cool.
Official decree. Bill of Rights number 11. Nicknames.
Tyrannicus is actually Tyra.
Tyra.
Great.
So yeah, so that's happening. Some just I guess fur of his brother, and we haven't seen other tigers in this episode
No,
or
he's
this
the only
world.
one,
So
which is very
so you know
concerning.
why.
You think Livingston would
So
want him like locked up or something? I don't know,
yeah,
but
due
maybe he
process of
does.
law, they don't have the evidence for it.
That's
They're
not in the
like
Bill of Rights.
these pelts were just passed down from my family. You know, it's our
Hmm.
tradition of how we remember everyone. This is just family. It
Oh,
wasn't
they were
because of
already
me that they
dead. I
died.
didn't
Yeah.
skin them alive. I didn't skin
Oh,
them alive.
no,
Yeah, they were already dead.
that's so uncivilized. No, I would
Yeah,
never. Someone, the
yeah, but I
warthog
will
did it
wear it
for
as a
me.
coat. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's in his office and he's talking to two zebras, telling them that they must remain vigilant during these evil times. And if they act now, they can have the privilege of hiring his personal bodyguards, who are, it
Mm.
turns out, the two warthogs who usually hang with
Ah,
Allegra, the alligator, but it seems like they're actually just for hire by anyone,
yeah.
maybe.
Okay.
Like, there's kind
Probably
of
back
like
and
the,
forth between the two.
yeah, exactly. Like, whoever's
Allegra
got a
and
job.
Tyra seem like the bad guys of this world.
Exactly.
So yeah, between those two.
Yeah, there's like they're henchmen for hire, basically.
Ah, yeah, yeah, that's
Yep.
a good
And
way
the
to describe
zebras say okay, they agree to hire the warthogs, but they kind of just look like they were like ready to rush out of there, I assume, because they want to get home before dark, because it is too
it.
scurry to be out and about at night these days.
Yeah.
And as night falls, we hear our voiceover again from Iggy, but we don't quite see him yet as we like kind of like camera POV like through the jungle, like it's getting dark, it's turning into nighttime. And
Hmm.
we hear him saying, so, as everyone is on edge, it was time for a hero. And I am just that hero. And we
Like
see him,
Batman.
Alexis, we
Oh,
see him. Not quite, not quite. We first hear perhaps a of a Spanish guitar.
lovely.
And we see him leap onto a rock, but it's not quite the Iggy we know. No, instead, he now has a thick black curled mustache and like the little thin
Okay.
beard, a very
Mm.
wide brimmed hat, his stick
Oh.
sword holding out to the dangerous night as he announces himself to be Don Iguana, Avenger of El Noche, Avenger of the Night.
It's like with every word, there was so much more to unpack. I'm okay. I love this. Okay, Iggy. All right.
He's fucking rocking it, let me tell you.
He sounds like he's really into it. Like
He
this
was
is
practicing those poses before he got on that rock for sure.
yes, yeah.
And
He's a
it was
friend
worth
by
it.
day, protector of the forest by night. Dunny Iguana.
Exactly. Don Iguana. So, yes, after this brave announcement, we hear a woman scream deep in the jungle, and we get again the stirring of the Spanish guitar.
It's like his
As
cue music.
yes, like he literally just needed the cape, and I wish he had that. As he looks towards the danger and runs directly towards it.
Mm.
And he comes upon the screaming woman, which is Allegra. She's in her
Uh,
swamp, and she's screaming as we see this like thin, shadowy figure. So not a portal, but a figure move through the swamp, seemingly towards her. And
mm.
just as it gets close enough to possibly strike, perhaps my one of my favorite scenes in this show so far occurs, to be followed later in this episode by my second favorite scene.
Okay. Up until this
As
point, it was your favorite scene.
Yes, exactly. As again, that Spanish guitar picks up, and we hear like a little almost Wild West whistle in the background, like a doo doo doo. And Don Iguana swoops down from the branches,
Mhm.
sword drawn, and we get a full-on slow motion battle as Don
Oh.
Iguana, frankly, fucks this thing up. Like he's stabbing it. He's cutting off what looks like arms of this figure. Like it is he like will like leap at it and it like has to spin out of the way and swirl out of the way to not get
Mm.
like stabbed in the heart. As all of this
Yeah.
is happening, swamp water splashing everywhere. Allegra is in the background swooning at this,
Oh.
let me tell you.
It's a
And
tiny iguana.
Don Iguana. And just as the figures fall, Don Iguana swirls his mustache, gives one
Mhm.
look at Allegra, and then dashes off back into the dangers of the dark night.
Mm. Okay.
Now, of course, the observant viewers of this episode, which I know you would all be if you'd be watching this episode, would have recognized that the shadowy figure in the swamp was a log that seems to have
Oh.
been caught and like launched to be straight up, the branches kind of off the side where the arms being hit off, and it was just moving
Mm.
gently in the water towards Allegra.
Classic mistake for an animal with, I imagine iguanas don't have great eyesight, nor
Classic.
alligators for that matter, considering alligators are usually underwater. But
Alexis, I want you
yeah.
to remember for a little bit that you thought this was a classic mistake. Okay, just put a very specific
Uh,
pin in that line of thinking. Okay, just don't ask me
okay.
more questions now. Just pin it. Just a
Got
quick
it.
little boop, a little
It's the
stick in
theme of
it,
this
perhaps a little
show. Don't ask
branch.
any questions
Yeah,
now. Just hold on to it for later.
trust me. Just trust.
Right? Okay.
But
Classic
I will
mistake.
say
Got it.
Allegra was on edge like the rest of Animalia. She's out in the swamps all by her lonesome. She was scared. It's
Mm-hmm.
dark out there in the swamp, and Don
Yeah.
Iguana was just being Iggy, was just being
Don
Don
iguana.
Iguana.
Mm-hmm.
But nonetheless, the next morning, everyone's watching turning into the morning news, and apparently one of like how like the mice are the news anchors,
Yeah.
the female mouse who's all white has a morning talk show, a little like GMA style,
Okay,
like
girl, get it.
yeah, she's
Yeah.
sipping her coffee and on
Yeah.
the couch
Get us ready
today.
for our work day. Who you got?
Exactly. Wake
Who you
up
got?
with whatever her name is. I don't
Yeah,
remember.
with this white mouse, whatever.
Yes,
Yeah.
names I never wrote down.
Yeah, I don't think we
So
know him.
on the couch this morning is Allegra, and she is
Ooh.
recounting her brush with death and the man, the hero, nay, the avenger of the night, who
Oh
came and
God.
saved her. And so she's giving the play-by-play, the mouse is gasping, everyone's tuning in. And
Mhm.
our gang, Alex, Zoe, Iggy, and Gabooboo, are also turning in. And Zoe, again, not fucking letting up on this sweet little Iggy, nudges him and
Mhm.
says, "Hey, Iggy, maybe you can take hero lessons from that guy," and
Huh.
starts to giggle. And at this,
Hmm.
Iggy gets up from the group and just shakes his head, muttering to himself, "Laugh as you will, Zoe, though my heart, she is breaking," as he looks
Oh.
longingly back at Zoe.
Aw.
I know Iggy's just really playing at all my
He's
heartstrings on this
he's
episode.
just he's a hopeless romantic. He can't
Hopeless,
help it. Yeah.
comma romantic.
Oh yeah. He's hopeless and he's
He's a
romantic.
romantic. All the best of us are.
Yes.
So after Iggy leaves, Alex does call Zoe out on like being way too hard on Iggy and like frankly being rude
Yeah.
to him.
You
And
chose to
Zoe,
stay here, okay? You could be
yeah, you don't have
nicer.
to
You could have
ask
left,
about it. Damn.
Zoe. Yeah.
You can leave anytime you want, Zoe. Okay. I'm not keeping you
Mhm.
anymore. You can leave. But Zoe, she does feel bad. She's like, "You're right, Alex. Like, I was being too harsh." And while she tries to find Iggy, she can't anymore. He's gone off somewhere else.
Mhm.
But we also rejoin now the office, the tiger pelted office we were in earlier with
A lot of
Tyra.
concerns, but
A lot of
sure. Yeah.
concerns. And
Mhm.
we see the zebras back in there, and they're actually canceling the bodyguard service because
Oh.
they don't need the
Ooh.
bodyguards anymore now that the Avenger of the
Mm.
Night has been out prowling and protecting Animalia. So it's unclear. It
Mm.
like sounds like maybe more like multiple. animals may have been protected. This might be a multi-night situation.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
the word has spread though, and the Avenger is out there.
Gotcha.
So Tyra, of course, is pissed. And as soon as the
He was
zebras, we
rooting for you.
were all rooting for you,
Rooting for you.
which is so funny because my next line is he snaps at the warthogs. So that was him turning to the warthogs with a picture of the warthogs.
I was rooting for
Rooting for
you.
you. We were all rooting for you. I mean, hey, in that
But
scene,
this
she
is in
does
no
have
way
a
a
little
reference to the
ginger in
Tyra
her
Banks.
hair, just like our
She,
Tyra does right here.
okay.
Interesting.
Just
Life
saying.
imitates art,
Came
does
first.
it not?
Does it not? Yes. Tale as old as time.
So yes,
Mm.
Tyra is pissed. She's yelling at the warthogs, and he snaps at them and tells them to track down whoever the heck this Avenger is. This Avenger is bad for business.
Mm, mm. Hitting
Hmm.
too close to the comic books and even to the real world in
Hmm.
some cases.
Again,
Anyways,
maybe art imitates life in this case.
yes, exactly.
Indeed. So that night, Don Iguana, not Iggy, is out
Ah,
patrolling
my
as
baby.
usual, as his nightly routine goes.
Hmm.
And as he's swinging through the branches and vines, he runs into Gabubu, Gabubu sees him in his whole setup, and he's just like, "Hey, Iggy, what's up?"
Oh my God. I mean, he is your best friend. And it is that thing in comic books that always annoys me when
Yes,
like the people closest to the superhero
they
can't
don't
tell
know
who
it.
they
Yeah, in
are, even
every
with like the
show
slightest
ever.
mask on.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'm
no,
like,
he's
come
just
on,
he just
guys,
straight up
really
says, "Hey, Iggy,
good.
what's
Oh,
up?"
hey, Iggy.
Yeah, which is very funny.
So, okay, well, go ahead. I was gonna ask a question, but maybe you'll answer it. But there's never really any
Oh no,
guesses with
I would
this
say ask the
show,
question.
so.
I don't expect I'll answer it, but I'll try. Go
Okay.
ahead and ask.
So does he know that he is Don Iguana too, or does he just think Iggy's goofing around in a costume? Or is he like, oh
No,
yeah, I know you're the one saving all these people?
he didn't up until he saw Iggy. And like
Okay.
in this moment when Iggy and his whole like regalia runs into Goo Boo Boo, Goo Boo was like, "Oh, what's up, Iggy? Oh, got it.
You're
You're
Don
Don
Iguana.
Iguana."
Okay, so
And
he
Iggy's
pieces
like,
it
"Yeah, I
together.
am. Yes,
Gotcha.
very
Okay. Iggy's like, and
immediately.
I can't hide this from you. He's like, I can't lie.
Yeah, you're a
Yes,
best friend.
it's
You're my
me.
bestie. Yeah, what's
I'm
up?"
not just like joking around in a cute costume. Yes, I am the
Yes.
superhero. Now everyone is gonna want to kill me. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
cool. I know
And
this
so
story, how this goes.
interesting,
Oh,
interesting. Lesson
okay. Well,
reading.
let's see. Maybe I
So,
don't.
yes, Iggy is like, "Yeah, what's up? It's me. I'm the Avenger of the night. It me, Don Iguana." And he shows him, he takes Kabubu. And I will say this is like kind of the actual only reference to Batman because it will go in a different
Mm,
direction than I maybe think you think it might be. So he
okay.
takes Kabubu to his iguana cave, which is just
Oh,
like
good Lord.
a flat rock.
Oh.
And Kabubu literally says, he's like, "This is just a rock."
It's like to you, it's a rock, but to
Yeah,
me,
to me,
a whole
it's a
other world.
cave.
It's a
Yes.
cave, my
But it
lair.
has exactly lots and lots and lots of books on it. So yes, he has been up studying how to be brave. And Kabubu, I will say, is impressed. Like it has been a few nights of Don Iguana patrolling and avenging the night and keeping Animalia safe.
Yeah.
And Kabubu does comment. He's like, "Iggy, this has all been really impressive. Like, I see you're working really hard, but like, when do you have time to do all of this? Like, you're clearly out all night saving Animalia. You're with us
Hmm.
all day. And then in all your extra time, you're reading and like studying how to be brave. Like, when are you sleeping? Like, are you
Good
eating? Like,
question.
what? As your best
Good
friend,
question.
I support you, but also like, you're burning the candle at both ends here, my dude.
And hey, I mean, you said there was only one Batman reference, but I was like, that's a question that Bruce Wayne gets all the time.
How do you, when and how do you sleep?
His Alfred's always asking him, like, bro, you got
Yeah.
to take care of yourself.
Gotta take a little nappy poo here and there.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
self-care,
okay.
important.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Iggy says that he's exhausted. Yes, like he's like, "Yeah, I have been overdoing a little bit, but
Hmm.
that won't stop me because I must protect Animalia and most of all, Zoe." And I know that I can't stop because my hero, my inspiration, my idol that I've been studying on how
Hmm.
to be brave from would not rest. It is the one, the only great model person to model yourself after, Don Quixote.
Oh my God. Okay.
So,
Wow.
yes.
Interesting.
Now, Kaboo, I will say we don't give him
Okay.
enough credit, it seems. My first episode, I was like, I don't know, he's just like a dumb teenage boy, but he knew about the core spores.
He did.
He
Yeah.
he saw through Iggy's disguise right away. And
Uh-huh.
now,
And he had the
turns out,
willpower to not attack Alex too. Like
not
he
to
had the
talk
mental fortitude to know to
Alex.
protect Alex even when he went
Yeah,
wild last
he knows
week.
his
Yeah.
friend needs sleep. And it
Yeah.
turns out Gabubu is learned and cultured as well because he's
Mm.
immediately concerned that Iggy is modeling himself after Don Quixote. And Gabubu says, Iggy, isn't that the one who attacked like a windmill? And he's right. Because Don Quixote
Yes.
maybe isn't the hero to base yourself off of, which the listeners
Mm.
who are as learned and cultured as Gabubu would have clocked from the start of this episode, as Iggy's opening line was, "In the kingdom of
Ah.
Animalia, on a rock whose name is unpronounceable, there lives one who is ever alert, who is always ready to face danger." It's not exact, but it mirrors the opening lines of Don Quixote, which in English
Mm.
says, "In a
Mhm.
village in La Mancha, whose name I do not care to remember, a hidalgo lived not long ago, one who keeps a lance on the rack, an old leather shield, a skinny nag, and a swift greyhound."
Hmm.
So, Alexis, who and
Interesting.
what exactly is Don Quixote?
Yes, do tell.
We're
I
going
am
to
not
talk
learned
about
enough
it.
to have read it, only to have heard about references to it throughout my life.
Yes. So we will
Hmm.
dive in right here now to a little bit of
Yay.
info about Don Quixote and why
Oh, good.
this is such a important book, why we still talk about it today.
Hmm.
So yes, Don Quixote is the titular character of the Spanish novel, which it was published in two parts in 1605 and 1615, which I did
Mm.
not realize was
Holy
that fucking
crap.
old. Yeah.
No, not at all. I thought it was like maybe
So
1800s or
yeah. So this
something,
is
or
why we're going to
yeah.
talk about why we still talk about it
Awesome.
today, because that's
Yeah.
insane that it's I
Old
did
as
not.
fuck.
Yeah, exactly. No idea that was
Yeah.
that old.
Huh.
And yes, it was originally called again in English, The Ingenious Gentleman Don Quixote of La Mancha by Miguel de Cervantes.
Hmm.
And
Oh my God.
yes,
Sorry. No,
is it suddenly
I
all
didn't
coming
say it,
back?
but he says the words, Iggy says Cervantes like a couple times in my episode from last week. I just didn't think of like looking it up or
Oh,
translating it. He just says like, Cervantes, like
wait,
as
that's like an
it's just
expression.
like a phrase, yeah, of
Yeah, they were
his.
laying that
That's
groundwork. He
so
does claim
interesting.
to be a very, 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 very long lost descendant of
Interesting.
Cervantes.
Of course,
Damn.
yes, because he was part iguana as well,
Yes,
was he not?
exactly.
Yes, cool.
He is a man of the
Interesting.
world. And
Huh.
I don't actually know
Sorry.
what
That was
Cervantes
just a
means
light bulb.
in Spanish, though. So maybe
Yeah.
it does mean something.
My brain kept
I'll mix
mixing it
that.
up with cerveza, and I was like, I know he's
And he's
not
just like,
saying
give me a
beer.
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 Yeah.
I'm fucking
Beer
stressed.
me, bro.
Beer me. Hold my beer. Give me a
Give
beer. I
me a
was like, I
beer.
don't know what that means. So yeah.
That's so
Interesting.
funny.
Hmm.
So, yeah, so it does feel a bit crazy that a book from the early 1600s is so like prevalent in pop culture today. Like, I
Yeah.
think, no, I think I can confidently say everyone, at least that like I personally know, has heard the name Don Quixote. Like, everybody
Yes.
knows of this name and like
Yeah.
might even vaguely know of like, oh, that's some like don't be like him, or like that's a silly
Yeah.
character, maybe, but like not maybe the full context, which is fine. But it is considered, and like why everybody knows about it still is it's considered one of the most central works within the entire world of literature because it's said to be
Wow.
the first modern novel ever written.
Oh,
And
interesting.
according to the Harvard Gazette,
Hmm.
Don Quixote is the second most translated book in the world after the Bible.
Wow.
Yeah, of like that's how important this book was and like,
Yeah.
obviously still is.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you a little bit of why this is
Incredible.
considered the first novel, and then I'll tell you more about like the book itself and Don Quixote.
Hmm.
So Cervantes basically changed the game of literature because up until that point, most like stories, like written stories, so not like plays that you'd go see, but like you'd actually read like in the news, like the newspapers, periodicals, were either like really short stories, which was like an Italian style. And perhaps I might also preface with like this is within Europe at least, because of course
Yeah.
everything's through like the European Western lens.
Right.
Um, so it was either short stories or these really long sagas about like great knights and acts of chivalry and romance and that
Hmm.
kind of thing. But Don Quixote was the first like written work, again within European lens, that created a narrative structure that had like an actual complex plot. It, for
Hmm.
the first time, incorporated themes about the human experience. So, like
Hmm.
truth, perceptions of reality. And most
Wow.
significantly, Cervantes, humanized the characters. So at the time, most characters in stories, no matter like what their like background, quote unquote, in the story was, all spoke the exact same way. Like when you
Hmm.
hear like the concept of like voice for a character, like that did not exist. Like they all spoke the same way, usually a really
Hmm.
formal language. So like think of like Shakespeare,
Yeah.
like Shakespearean English, like how they were speaking in the plays is not how like the common people of England were actually speaking, type of
Yeah.
thing. Which, fun fact, Shakespeare is a contemporary of Cervantes. They were writing at the same time and they died the
Whoa,
same
that's
year.
crazy. Oh my
Yeah.
God, dude, what a year for
I
literature.
know. Isn't
Good
this was like a
Lord.
whole mind fuck
These freaking,
happening
yeah,
in like putting this
that's
in
crazy.
context.
And then when you put it in that context too, I sometimes forget how old Shakespeare was,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
how long ago I should say
Yeah.
Shakespeare was, because it's still just so everything he's ever done is
Right,
so
is
relevant today that I'm
constantly, yeah.
always like, yeah, like what, 1700 to
Right at the
1800s?
latest,
No,
but
fucking
early
1600s,
1600s.
insane. Yeah.
Yeah.
1990s, right?
I don't know, when did
Leo
Romeo plus
DiCaprio, Baz
Juliet?
Luhrmann. Yeah. Yeah.
When that perfect
Right?
film come
Didn't he
out?
died like right before that movie came out, didn't
Wait, he wrote that
he?
movie, right? Is that the only
Yeah.
one?
Something like that. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Lion King wasn't that loosely based
Yeah.
off of what he did, also
Hamlet.
the 90s?
Yeah.
What's the things I hate about you? What's the deal here? So,
Fucking She's the Man.
yeah,
12th Night. Yeah.
it was within a
I think
decade
he
of him
died in like
dying, right?
2007, didn't he?
Yeah,
Didn't he know Channing
2007.
Tatum?
Yeah, did he know about Amanda
He
Bynes
casted
personally?
Channing Tatum in
Yeah.
that movie.
Full slay. Great
Did he not?
casting. Great job,
Yeah.
William. Will.
Well,
So, yes.
Willie Shakes.
Willie Shakes, what up? So,
Anyways,
yes, part of this is in Don Quixote that all the characters also pretty significantly, they came into the work with their own motivations, their own views of
hmm
the world, and experiences that influenced the way that they spoke. Again, giving them unique voices and unique reactions to the world. So that's why I said like they humanized the characters of like
yeah,
in a situation, not everyone will say, "Oh my, look at that." Like
yeah,
super formally and like
have the
having
same reaction,
exactly like
same way of expressing that reaction, same words.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it was like the
interesting.
concept of like a character's motivation and they could be in conflict with one another because their perception of the world is different
Yeah,
than one another. Like this was
mm,
groundbreaking. And as was groundbreaking was making the characters actually speak like everyday people. Um, so before, and I'll get to it in like a little bit here of like this also rocked like the Spanish language in the sense of like it
mm,
influenced a lot of like how people are actually speaking and it was actually
yeah.
reflected in this work for the first time. So it was
Art
almost one of
imitates
those
life,
like
or life imitates art. Sorry.
yeah, exactly. So it was one of those like,
hmm
oh, this is like could be a work for the everyday people.
Mm,
And
that's
yes,
cool.
it essentially gave this nuanced and like really realistic portrayal of life and the human experience rather than this like aggrandized, idealized version of all other works. And it's even said
hmm
that Cervantes explicitly wanted to challenge this like really vain and empty, like chivalrous, like romance and like epic works because they were all kind of the same plot. They were all
Yeah,
like way over the top and like, oh, these knights are these grand heroes, and the women all
yeah,
fall for, like that kind of thing. And he wanted to challenge that. And as I mentioned, it came in two parts. Now it's always published as one. But the first half
yeah.
of Don Quixote, the first part is like a little more comical, while the second is a little more complex. So, like, both were really groundbreaking in how they did them. The second one was a little more complex and really dove into the themes of like trust, idealism, realism, and again,
Hmm.
like rocked the literature world. Again, using like how the way people actually speak ended up really influencing, yeah, the Spanish language.
Hmm. Interesting.
So, why is Goobooboo so worried that Iggy is basing his heroism and approach on
Yes.
of Don Iguana on Don Quixote if it's such a big deal, such a masterworks? Why would you
Yeah. He's
not want to model yourself after this?
exactly. He's a hero among heroes, is he not?
Except
He
that we
has
still
no
speak of him
flaws.
today.
Yes, he's a legend.
He's a legend. And beyond a legend, and my other word I would describe Don Quixote with is delulu. So,
A legend.
a legendary delusional man.
Delusional. Yeah.
Legendarily
Great.
delulu is Don
Yeah.
Quixote, I would say. So,
Fair. That
Don
checks out
Quixote,
for Iggy too. So far, what
I
we know about him.
mean, keep
Yeah,
all this
but
in
okay.
mind.
Okay,
Keep this
pens
plot that
everywhere.
I'm about to tell you and this character in mind as we go through the
Great.
rest of their story after I tell you about the
Yes.
actual book. So, yes, our character, Don Quixote, he is a nobleman who fills all of his time reading these epic romance novels or epics and
Hmm.
romance novels and stories about knights to the point that he fills his head so much with these books, like it is all this man is doing, that he
Hmm.
literally goes insane and decides one day that he is a knight and he goes off to travel in search of such grand adventures.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
things
Okay.
go immediately wrong, either making
Oh
things
no.
worse in the town or just like people in the town being like, okay, everything's literally on fire. Yeah, we're going to say you're a knight. Just get the fuck out. You're almost killing people.
Fine, you're a
So,
knight. Stop killing us.
the first establishment he winds up in, he is wielding a sword as he's in here against no foes. He goes into an inn because he thinks it's a castle, and he
Hmm.
demands that the innkeeper, who he thinks is the host of the castle, like the prince in the castle, he demands that the innkeeper dub him a knight. While that's happening, some like commoners are trying to like water their mules at like, the water trough, and they like start to
Hmm.
like move Don Quixote's horse. And he
Uh-oh.
interprets this as an attack. And so he starts to try and attack these people. At which point the innkeeper is like, okay, yeah, 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 you're a knight. Knighted you a knight. Please get the fuck out of like attacking my people here.
Whatever you say, bro. Just
Yeah, just
leave,
please
please, and don't hurt
leave.
anyone else. Yeah,
Yes.
great. Okay.
So basically, all of
Yikes.
his adventures are similar to this, in which he like interprets one thing as happening that it's very clearly not, and he goes
Yeah.
in trying to quote unquote save the situation, makes things worse. At one point, he always like kind of ends up back at home. At one point, his family like sees this insanity and they burn all of his books and they literally seal the door of his library to keep the books safe. And this man is so delulu that they're like, oh yeah, that door that's sealed, a wizard did it. It was a wizard, so we can't possibly
Yeah,
unseal
like
it.
you believe in those, right? You believe in wizards? It was
Yeah,
one of
you're into that,
those
right?
scary
That
wizards
thing.
in your books.
That
Yeah,
did it.
yeah.
That did it. Definitely did it.
Good Lord.
So,
Man.
through all of these adventures, he eventually asks his neighbor, the equally now famous Sancho Panza, to be his
Hmm.
squire. And so Sancho agrees after promises of, I think, like riches from Don Quixote, who is a nobleman. So Sancho was like, yeah, sure, I'll go with
Hmm.
you. Like, you one day will be able to give me
Whatever you
money.
say, pay up front, please, and
Yeah,
let's go.
exactly. I'll
Sure, just don't
invoice
kill
your
me.
estates. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Sancho famously becomes like the grounding voice in reality and reason during all of these misadventures.
Hmm.
And so, yes, the Delulu adventures continue through both of these parts. Most famously is when Don
The Lulu
Quixote
Adventures.
and this is what Gabubu was referring to, is when
Hmm.
Don Quixote goes like full feral mode on some windmills because he thinks
Yeah.
that they're giants.
Oh my
And this
God.
actually is like so famous that I hadn't heard this, but like for a long time, there was an English idiom, and I'm sure also in Spanish, called tilting at windmills, which means
Mm.
attacking imaginary enemies. Like you
Oh,
think
huh.
something's an enemy, so you're attacking it, you're going after it, tilting at windmills.
Yeah.
And that comes from this because he is just stabbing and
Interesting.
slashing away at like some poor farmer's windmill because he thinks
I've
it's a giant.
I've never heard that, but I like that phrase. I feel like the
Yes.
modern equivalent would be like you're chasing ghosts or something like
Yes,
that.
exactly.
But I
Like
like
this
tilting at
thing
windmills
you
much
think is
more.
happening is
Yeah.
not
Is
happening.
not.
Like you have
Yeah.
entirely made this up in your mind.
Interesting.
So, yes, all the adventures are similar to that. And throughout the novel, really interestingly, again, with like the complexity why this novel was such a big deal, Don Quixote has these moments of like lucidity, logic, and wisdom within like he'll have like these crazy rants and then say some like one line that will be like I should have written some of them down, but like that's really
Mhm.
wise and like sage good advice, which makes the readers have to pause and wonder like, oh, is he fully insane? Like, has he fully lost it? Does he just
Yeah.
have like bouts of madness? Like what exactly like he became a complex character because they threw that in. And he
Yeah.
also oftentimes would speak like the readers of that day and era are actually speaking, making them like both relate to him, but then these like wild rants to then also not relate to him. So
Yeah.
yeah, like having this really like layered relationship with this
It's
main
like
character.
the OG complex character
Yes, exactly.
where
Like
you're
the
like,
actual first one.
it's like I think I'm supposed to like him, but also he's doing
Yeah.
some crazy shit, but also
Yeah.
like that's like humans. It's almost like you said, really
Exactly.
humanizing someone. Like humans aren't
Yeah.
perfect, like they were always depicted in all these other
Right. These
classic pieces of
heroes.
literature. Yeah, they were always like, yeah, going on these quests and defeating
Yep.
the monster. And it's like, no, most people like they do good things and they also do really, really weird, strange things
Yes, that make
too.
no sense to anybody but
Exactly.
them. Thus,
Yeah.
like, again, the question of everyone's perception of their own reality was really big in
Hmm.
this book.
Yeah.
So Don Quixote is impulsive, and ultimately part of his like motivation for going on this grand adventure is that he wants to become like the hero of his own book. Like basically he's
Yeah.
like one day they will write books about me being this like knight and this huge hero. So also like breaking the fourth wall essentially of like
Yeah.
you're reading
Interesting.
this is a book about books. Like you're reading this
Yeah.
book and I will be in my own book one day. And
Yeah.
like how the book is actually set up is like there's a narrator who's like I found this memoir and let me retell it to you now type of
Mm.
thing. So like someone's telling the story of a story.
Yeah. Hmm.
So
Interesting.
now perhaps remember that Kabubu was concerned that Iggy is modeling himself off of this hero, if you will, Don
Yes.
Quixote.
Yes. We all should be
And
after what you've just told us. At least
exactly.
a little bit.
At
Hmm.
least a little concerned, both that that's his idol, also because Don Iguana wants to be the
Hmm.
hero of his own story,
Yeah.
just like the heroes he had been reading about. Thus,
Hmm.
meaning he probably missed the entire point of the book, and he himself perhaps is now his own worst enemy, just like Don
Yeah.
Quixote was.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
So, yes, Gabubu again asks about the whole windmill situation from the book, again, because Gabubu knows. And let's unpin something from quite a while ago,
Yeah. I
Alexis.
was gonna say he wasn't chasing ghosts, he was chasing logs.
When Piggy says, this is an easy mistake anyone could have made. So now I'm worried about you.
I've been reading too many comic books. I'm becoming immersed anyways.
So yes,
Oh
Icky's
Lord.
like anyone could have made that mistake with the windmill situation. And Gabubu goes, no, it's not. Like, no, it's not a mistake anyone can make. And then he says, like, Iggy, if you don't get some sleep and like back down, this is a mistake that you could make. Very
Yeah.
foreboding, perhaps, of a
Yes.
comment.
Yes. And Gabubu is wiser than we give him credit for. So I
He's
take
wiser.
that statement very seriously. Oh gosh. Oh
Yes.
no.
But their argument is cut off when they hear another scream, and they now both leap into action because now Gabubu is at his side, his Sancho Panza, if you will, his
I
grounding voice
will.
of reason. I
I
will,
will.
and I did.
And
Thank
I
you.
did. And I am.
And I am. And so the screaming has come from back in Allegra's swamp. But this time it's no log. We actually do see the portal with the glowing eyes appear back in the swamp, and Allegra is again screaming her head off. And so Don Iguana leaps down in front of the portal, holding his sword aloft and daring the eyes to come out and face him. The eyes just kind of blink in confusion at him. They actually look down at him. They're like, uh kind of look at each other confused. But
No
then,
thanks. Not interested.
yeah, not interested in whatever this is. But then the eyes go wide and actually do look very afraid as Gabooboo walks up behind Iggy, looming over him and baring his teeth. And as this happens, the eyes again go wide, actually look like they're pretty afraid and like close the portal, like they blink out of existence.
Mm-hmm.
And Don Iguana,
You
of
get him,
course,
Gabooboo.
thinks this was all him, though.
Hmm.
The delusions
That's
begin and
cute.
or continue.
Continue, perhaps. Yeah. And Gaboo is just gonna let it go, I bet. Like, yeah,
Oh
sure. That was
yeah,
all
because
you,
of
buddy.
course this
He's
you
a good
got it,
friend.
dude. And from behind him, behind them, we hear, "Oh, what a reptile!" And Allegra faints. But don't worry, she's okay. She's
Oh, I wasn't worried, but thank you for letting me know.
well, I'm here to let you know, Alexis, that she's more than okay. In
Oh.
fact, she's great. Because the next morning, Allegra isn't just the guest on the morning talk show. Good morning, Animalia, if you will. Oh no.
Yeah.
She is that morning's musical guest. Because her and her backup dancers, they've prepared a little country ballad
Oh
about
God.
Don Iguana.
Oh no, they're turning him into a song. What do you call that? I can't think of the word right
It's an
now.
ode to Don Iguana. I don't
An
know.
ode.
A
Yeah, I'm thinking
hero,
of
a
like
folk hero.
bards and stuff like
Oh, yes,
that. They
exactly.
have
Yeah.
like,
They're turning
yeah,
they're making him into song, like a legend of song.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I don't totally remember the tune, but here's like a quick line of it. Like a thief in the night, you stole my heart without a fight. And she
Mm,
is belting her little sweet southern heart right out for her
she is
love,
a
hoping that Don
queen.
Iguana is watching this morning on
Mm,
GMA.
mm-mm.
So, yes, also her backup
Good for her.
dancers
GMA.
are
It's
alligators
GMA,
doing
yeah.
like slow motion interpretive dancing in the background to this country tune. So,
Oh God.
yes, it's incredible. And who else is watching? I mean, everyone's watching. No one misses it.
Yeah. Good morning,
But
Animalia.
you can't
Ratings are
miss.
high. Yeah.
And but yes, whom else is watching but Tyra, who's actively slamming his fist down. She's getting more airtime than me.
How dare, how dare she?
God, look at
Not
that
even
tacky
smizing.
lipstick. God, if I could give her a
Yeah,
makeover, I would.
I would. Want to
So
judge
yes.
her runway walk.
So Tyra is slamming his fist down and yelling at the warthogs in his office about this, that the Avenger has been able to continue on. But especially he's mad because the warthogs had their chance to stop the Avenger because they came face to
Mm,
face with him. Because now we look at the warthogs, who they, wear like little helmets because they're always on their ATVs and motorbikes and shit. And we see that
hmm
on the helmets, there's two antenna.
Antennae.
And
Yeah.
how do you pluralize that? But at the top of them,
Antenna. Yeah.
at the end of each one, are glowing blue and purple eyes. Because this,
Oh,
yet
this
again, was
is
another
turning.
conspiracy by Tyra to drum up
Oh
business
my God.
by stoking fear. Totally not relevant today in 2025, the year of our Lord.
No,
To
no, not at
stoke
all.
fear to drum up business. So he's been
Yeah.
sending the warthogs around, who, yes, everyone can control portals, I would assume, to scare people throughout
Can
Animalia.
they?
So, I mean, apparently the warthogs can.
Because that was my next question. It's like I'm surprised enough that this is what is the eyes are, but I'm
Mhm.
the next question, the next logical question is, so how do they get these portals all over the place? But it sounds like we don't get an answer, so I'm just
No,
gonna keep
no,
it
no answers,
moving.
no
No.
portal
Why the fuck would
answers.
we get an answer to that?
There's
That
not
makes
even
no
a
sense.
core
Why
score
would
in
they
this
answer
episode
this major plot hole in this
when they could just
episode?
talk over it. When they could just
Exactly.
keep going with something totally
Divert
else.
and distract.
Yes.
Yes.
The razzle dazzle them,
Pivot.
That's
Yeah.
showbiz, baby. Yeah, pivot.
That's showbiz.
Showbiz.
Yep.
And
Just
you know what?
put Allegra on stage, let her sing a song about something, and I guarantee you no one will ask any questions about anything else.
And here's the thing.
Showbiz.
Tyra, as we know, knows showbiz. Instead of thinking that this operation is shut down, no, it's time to razzle dazzle. It's time to go bigger, bolder, better. They're going to make the eyes giant now. So
Okay.
that's, I
They're
guess, the
bigger.
solution.
They're bolder.
Like, yes, exactly. They just like up the ante by making them like glow more, and now they're like huge on the top of these little warthogs' head, which I guess is
Fair.
more scary or something. So
I
that's the plan
think, yeah, I
now.
mean it's a bigger monster, maybe, if the
Yeah,
eyes are bigger.
yeah,
That's my only guess. That's all I've got. I don't know.
yeah. Same. I don't know what his business acumen and plan is, but again, they just keep on moving. They said this will do. That'll
Yeah.
satisfy the viewers. So after the morning talk show, our main gang, Iggy, Gabubu, Alex, and Zoe,
Mhm.
are, going through their morning walk. And Zoe pulls Iggy aside, who Iggy at this point, he's got bags under his eyes. He is like
Poor
kind of
guy.
stumbling a little bit as they're walking. Like he had to get up early to watch GMA. That show was early as heck. He wishes he was still asleep. We all know this. But Zoe says that she's sorry. She was making wisecracks about him taking like hero lessons and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And this really touches Iggy because Zoe's like very sincere about it. And Iggy, of course, forgives her. And in her moment of sincerity, he also decides to be very sincere. And he admits that he is Don Iguana, the Avenger of the Night.
No. I guess for her, that's yeah.
She hasn't seen him yet, but because she's never seen Don Iguana IRL.
Yeah.
But let me tell
Yeah.
you,
Only
Alexis,
the news. Only through the news. Yeah.
only through, yeah, word of mouth here. And this was big mistake. Huge.
Oh,
Zoe
yeah.
laughs right
Zoe's
in
loud as
his
fuck too.
face.
Oh.
She's like, "Oh, Iggy, you don't have to make things up to impress me. Like, I like you just the way you are, buddy." A little punch on the shoulder
Oh.
there.
Super friend zone too.
Yeah,
Yikes. That's
exactly.
like a
I was
1-2
like,
punch for
the friend
Iggy. Poor
zone
guy.
just came plummeting down here
Yeah.
on Iggy. And before Zoe can see the real heartbreak with the stab this time, Iggy not faking it, she's off with
Mm-hmm.
Alex, just up to other shit. She's like, "All right, that was
Mm.
hilarious. I gotta tell Alex this joke. Bye." And leaves him
Iggy's
there
like,
in
I
the
can
fucking
never compare with
dust.
Alex.
I know. It's human. He's better than me. They're so stupid.
Yeah.
So, seeing both this heartbreak as the final straw, you're like, when you're so tired, you're having those bad days, and then, like, your hands are wet from
Something
washing
like
your
that
hands in the
happens.
bathroom, and you try and, like, rip the paper towel, and you just get a little, like, tear, and that's the end of it. You just start
Mm-hmm.
crying. Like, this
Hands
is
are wet.
that
Yeah.
moment for Iggy
Oh,
here. Like,
poor Iggy.
Gabubu scoops him up on his shoulder to like keep walking, and like as he's sitting there, like Iggy's like falling asleep on Gabubu's head and like shoulder because he's
Mm-hmm.
just so
Take a little
tired.
nap.
Just taking
Yeah.
a little nappy
Yeah.
poo. He's just so exhausted, and now this that emotional blow after all of these other ones just
Mm-hmm.
is too much. But Iggy is jerked awake when he hears the kids, mainly Zoe, scream.
Ooh.
And he wants to leap into action, but Gabubu kind of holds him back and he's like, "Bro, you're in no shape to try and go help anyone right now. Like, this,
Mm-mm.
you're falling asleep as we're walking right now. Like, you can't help right now. Like, I can go help.
Yeah.
You are unable to."
You sleep. Yeah.
Yeah. But Zoe screams again, and Iggy, already transformed into Don Iguana, must go save
Mm.
his love.
Okay.
And we see that, yes, the kids this time are cornered by the looming shadow slash portal with, yes, enormous glowing eyes that do look way scarier. They're taking up most of the portal. It looks like they're about to leap out now.
Okay.
So, a little
Fair.
illusion happening here.
Mm-hmm.
And Don Iguana leaps down between the portal and the kids, and through multiple yawns, he's kind of muttering to himself. He's like, "Okay, okay, okay, okay. These eyes are bigger now. These eyes are giant now. These must be from giants. Well, okay, the smart thing to do would be to run
See?
away." A
Yeah.
classic mix-up.
See?
It
It's either from
worked.
giants or windmills, one of the
Well, one of the
two.
two. Either way, a giant is involved here.
Mm-hmm.
And so Iggy's like, "Okay, well, the smart thing to do right now, these are huge fucking eyes, would be to run away. We should probably run away. But, I'm pretty, what did he say? He's like, I'm pretty punchy from all this lack of sleep, so I choose the other option, attack. And he runs right into the portal.
Oh, Iggy. Oh boy.
Sword
Okay.
drawn, swinging.
Hey, he is fully immersed in those books on how to be brave. He
That's how you be
is like Don
brave.
Quixote. He thinks that he is the brave main character in those books, and he's like, "Fuck it, we're going in a portal, half sleep. Let's go. Let's do it.
Let's do
I'm
this.
game for anything."
No better time than half sleep, otherwise I'd be too scared and run away if I was fully awake.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, yes, he runs into the portal, swinging that little stick sword, and we do hear like a little like tussle and like scuffle happening, and the portal
Mhm.
drops, and we see the two warthogs like just book it out of there. They're like, this iguana is crazy. Like
He's
we
crazy.
are fucking
Okay,
leaving. I'm
fine,
crazy. I'll do
fine.
it.
You gotta throwback. That's such a throwback
I'll do
line. That's a
it.
deep cut Bird and
Deep
Grace
cut
line right
lore.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm crazy.
I'll do it.
Don't mess with me. I'll do it.
And Iggy, if anyone,
Cool.
is embodying that right now because the warthogs run
Yes.
away and Iggy gives chase. He is like, oh no, I did not vanquish these foes yet. They can still move.
They're still
Not
moving.
over. And so he goes after them. And at this point, Zoe is scared, obviously, for Don Iguana, slash, obviously, she saw him now and immediately knew it was
She
Iggy
knows
as
it's
well. She
Iggy.
like saw
Okay,
him and was like,
good.
oh,
Well,
Iggy.
also good. Get her to fricking eat her own words.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Respect this little man, this little
Yeah,
iguana
put some
man.
respect on that Don Iguana's name.
Mm.
So Zoe is scared, obviously, for his safety against like these foes.
Mhm.
Gabubu is scared for the safety of others against a crazed, sleep-deprived Iggy with a weapon. Alex is just kind of there to help. Alex is just kind of like, what?
Alex is just like sketching. What? He's in his own world. Alex, never mind. Go ahead. Never mind. Just
Yeah.
there's too much to
Alex
say about
Alex
Alex.
does nothing. They like give him like one thing during the rest of this whole thing, and it's pointless. I didn't even put it in. I was like, Alex,
You
go
know,
home.
that's probably good. We had enough of him last week, I
We had
think.
way too much.
It'll be
Yes,
nice to have a
exactly.
week off from Alex lore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. This is Iggy lore.
Yeah.
So,
Iggy and Zoe.
yes. So, of who should be scared, Gabubu was the most correct because we catch up with Don Iguana in town, who is now in my other favorite scene. He is like I have to first describe like the POV that's given that
Mhm.
switches back and forth between Don Iguana and like everyone else, which is like
Mm.
Iggy's POV is all like everything is like fisheye lens happening and like slow
Oh,
motion and is like from the ground up. So everything
yeah.
he runs into looks like a giant.
Like a
And like
giant. Oh my God.
the POV
Oh
looking
my
down at
God.
Iggy is again like the fisheye lens, so everything's bulge, and he's just like slow motion, like stumbling, like slurring his words. Like this is like a drunk man, like a blackout drunk man situation.
I gotta give it to the writers. They actually fucking cooked on this episode.
They,
They
it
left no
is
fucking
so fucking
crumbs.
good.
This is really good because again,
Yeah,
and you're getting that whole like, oh, from Iggy's perspective, he's the hero, he's doing the right thing,
yep.
but everyone on the outside is like, holy shit, stay back,
Whoa,
get back,
whoa,
like,
whoa!
dude. But the
What was
fact
this
that they
little
made him
crazy
like
reptile?
half asleep instead of being like,
Yes,
no, he's just a crazy man. It's like, no, he's half
yes.
asleep and he
He's
just
just sleep
doesn't know what he's
deprived.
doing. Yeah, this is
Exactly.
well done, writers.
It's
Okay, I'm
so
liking it.
good. So good. And
Yeah.
so yeah, so he's like waving his sword around. Everyone's like trying to like back up, like
Hmm.
kind of thing. Yes, he's yelling that everybody is a giant, perhaps a windmill instead,
Maybe a window.
at all of this. So yes, again,
Yeah.
art imitating life, writing art is what's
Imitating art.
happening
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Art is
Art
imitating art.
imitating art.
Yeah, that was an easy way to say it, I guess. I
Yeah.
guess.
There we go.
So, at seeing all of this, Zoe runs up and leaps between them. She's like blocking Iggy from like the different animals that he's trying to stab. She's like telling it was like some elephants being like, you guys got to get out of here, like run for it. Like he's a danger to himself right now and to others.
He's crazy.
He's
He's making
crazy.
himself into others. Yeah. Please get out of the way. Get out of the way.
This is like the really bad kind, not just danger to himself anymore. Everyone go, run,
Everyone. Yeah.
get out of here. But
Uh,
there's not enough time for her to also save Iggy because
Yeah.
we see from one side approaching, again, from Iggy's POV now, Tyrannicus running
Mm,
up. The way Iggy sees Tyra right now is with glowing red eyes, like growling
ooh,
at him as he's running
yeah.
up. On the other side, Iggy sees a giant chomping dragon, like waving their arms, also running up to now attack Iggy. Who
Mm.
we see is Allegra, not running up to chomp him, running up to smooch her hero.
Ah, of course. Yes. Oh God, she's about to be turned off real quick. Maybe. Maybe.
We don't know what Allegra's into.
Yeah, I was gonna say she might be into it actually. We'll
Yeah.
see.
And so Tyra, though, is getting there first, and he brings his foot straight up to just stomp down on Iggy, aka Don
Mm,
Iguana, who's been ruining
hmm.
all of his plans. But Don Iguana, in his dazed, drunken, sleep deprived, mad state, throwing his sword around, has it straight up in the air at the perfect moment that Tyra's foot slams down, stabbing Tyra right in the paw, sending him
Oh.
back, roaring in pain. But
Mm.
not for long. Tyra shakes it off and goes in for straight up what is just another curb stomp at this point to Don Iguana. There's no better way to describe it.
Hmm.
But our unexpected hero, the opposite now of a damsel in distress, Allegra, screaming
Mm.
about her beloved, leaps down and swipes her huge alligator paw right at Don Iguana at the last second, sending him flying out of harm's way,
Oh,
right
okay.
into Zoe's arms.
Oh, heaven. He was sent straight to heaven. His own heaven.
His own
Wow.
heaven. And Zoe is shaking Don Iguana, begging Iggy to snap out of it. Wow, by the way, in the background, like Tyra and Allegra are like now fighting each other of like kind of like
Oh
pushing each other. Like
shit.
Allegra is like defending Don Iguana. She doesn't know it's Iggy. She's like
Okay.
defending him from Tyra fully of like,
Wow.
you can't get at my man. Like,
Girl, step off.
he's
Back
mine.
off.
Yeah, I saw him first.
Yeah.
He saved my life first.
Mine.
That
Hmm.
is might as well be an engagement. That was my fiance over there.
I mean, in the world of Animalia, yeah,
Could be.
yeah. She doesn't know any better.
Nope. But luckily, True Love's voice does snap Don Iguana, now Iggy, out of it. And he
Hmm.
does look a little ashamed, telling Zoe that he did all of this to impress her. And she hugs him and
Hmm.
reminds him again that she does like Iggy just the way he is. And she wouldn't want to
Oh.
change anything about that. And so he gets up and he takes off his hat in a flourish and gives a deep bow to Zoe. And while Don Iguana may have saved Animalia from danger and hung up his hat, can anyone really ever stop being a hero? Iggy wonders. And he vows to always protect Animalia. After, of course, as we see him curling up, he gets a good night's sleep.
Good.
And that's the end. And the part that tied into your last episode when you were like, "Oh, I wonder how
Yeah,
books play into this." And then I was like, "This is the plot of this my entire episode is
literally.
what someone here read a book, one of the kids maybe read Don Quixote and then imagined
Yeah,
in their coma state Don Quixote."
yeah. And now it has me wondering if like every character can be kind of every animal character can be tied to another like famous fictional character,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know? Because I know there's some, first of all, great job, by the
Thank
way,
you.
too, before we go too deep
Thank
on down
you.
this rabbit hole. You help put some context to some things that, kind of at least that these
Kind of.
animals have brighter lives than we maybe originally
Yeah.
thought.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, but I know that vis-a-vis the whole thing of like, oh, are these main characters all just actually based off of main characters in books that like
Yep.
Alex and Zoe read? There is some crazy backstory with Gabooboo. I saw while like skimming
Oh,
through the like the
the character,
synopsises of
yeah.
all that, yeah, on Wikipedia, where like he at some point gets amnesia and turns into like some professor, some genius professor. So I'm like Jekyll and
Jekyll and
Hyde, like
Hyde. Oh no,
something
we
like
gotta
that. I
investigate.
don't know. I know. So maybe now I don't think I
Yeah,
was
try and
doing one
find
of
a
those
good
episodes,
boo-boo.
but
We
we
gotta look
might
into it.
want to actually do that because then we could like cover each main character.
Yeah,
Like I
and
feel
who
like
they're
we've
supposed
got
to be.
Livingston for the most part, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Interesting. Yeah,
interesting.
perhaps. Yeah,
And to
Livingston's
also
just
see how
Aslan
it
from Lion, Witch,
yeah,
and the
from
Wardrobe.
Narnia. Yeah,
Yeah.
literally. He's just the god of this whole world.
Yeah.
But yeah, and to then see how Gabubu was saying like Cervantes in the last episode. And
Yeah.
now that you talk about this episode where he is like acting like Don Quixote, I see how they make his character throughout the entire series
Yes.
have that kind of like Don Quixote vibe
Yes.
too.
Because
After
too,
you
part of it,
graciously explained the general plot of Don Quixote for me.
yeah, and
Thank
part
you.
of it too is that like Don Quixote like decides that like some woman in town is like the damsel in distress who's like heart he
Mm,
must win type
I
of
must
thing.
save you. Yes,
Yeah,
which is
exactly.
locked eyes with Zoe and clocked
And
out
he
on her the
said,
very
"It
first
you,
time he met her. You.
you girl,
Whether you like it or not,
too late."
you.
Yep, exactly.
You have no say in this matter
Yeah,
because I am crazy and living in my own fictional world.
yeah, because I am
So,
delulu.
yes.
Much like my hero. So,
Incredible.
yes, it was a
Wow.
very fun episode. It really unfolded in ways I didn't
I love
expect,
it.
and I loved every second of it. And
Yeah.
between now and next week, when you come back with your episode, who should our listeners and viewers tell about this show?
Mm. You should tell. I wish Don Quixote was actually a real person and lived or alive and that
Nope,
Cervantes
we've just been
was
by a
alive
couple
too,
hundred years.
Cervantes.
Lives
You
our
should
author.
tell a what do you call it? Like a literary historian.
Oh
I feel like
yeah.
there are people who
Yeah, yeah.
literally research the history of like famous literature and
Yeah.
everything.
Ooh, that's a good
Tell
one.
one of them. Yeah, tell some,
Yes.
find
Ooh.
out what that
Getting a
is
smart
called and
crowd in
then
here.
tell them. Yeah, exactly. To they
You know,
can realize
smarties up
how
in
not
here.
smart we are.
Yeah.
Can laugh at us.
Good, good,
Yeah.
good, good.
Who should they
Perfect.
tell?
I
Mhm.
think after that, you should tell your tallest friend, your giant friend.
Mm. Don't mix them up with a windmill.
Yeah, don't go telling a
Don't
windmill.
call them a windmill.
But if one of your friends you see telling this episode about to a windmill, maybe ask your friend if they need some help.
Maybe.
Just check in
Yeah,
on them.
just in case.
Yeah.
Wait, what was the phrase again? Don't tilt the windmill?
Or
Was
it's
that
tilting windmills is like, oh, that person's
tilting?
over there tilting
Yeah,
windmills. Like
tilting
they're
windmills.
going after
Okay.
imaginary enemies. Like they're just making shit up and
Tilting
going hard.
windmills.
Yep.
Or in the purpose of this episode, tilting logs. Either
Tilting
way. Yeah,
logs. Exactly.
cool.
Yes.
Nice.
Perfect. Well, till then, we'll see y'all next
Till
week.
next week.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in to Saturday Morning Mysteries.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share, rate, review, leave us a like, and drop a comment. We post episodes every Saturday and bonus tune tangents whenever we feel like it. So please subscribe so you don't miss the shenanigans.
And if you want to follow us on YouTube, click the bell under the YouTube subscribe button to receive notifications when new videos are posted.
And if you want to subscribe to the podcast, we have no idea what you're listening to us on, so just hit the big subscribe button on whatever app you're using. We believe in you.
Give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram at SatmornMist, all the abreves, and let us know if you have any episode or show requests by emailing SaturdayMorningMysteries@gmail.com.
Thanks to Jenna Kendall for the logo design and to Ava Sakiki for the music used during this week's episode.
See y'all groovy kids next week on Saturday Morning Mysteries.